As a future in the Big 12 shines brightly on the horizon, BYU's athletic program has gained the attention of many. A force to be reckoned with, the administration, coaches, and athletes work day in and day out to continually be a top program within the West.
However, BYU athletics are known for more than just their athletic talents. These are the stories of 3 student athletes committed to making a difference.
Trey Stewart has been a member of the men's BYU basketball team since the beginning of last year. Coming from a family that has always been involved in sports, it only made sense that he followed in their footsteps. UVU was originally Stewart's first choice, but his commitment to Coach Pope brought him back to the Marriott Center after his mission in Leeds, England. As an advocate and having experienced mental health himself, Trey created Default Happiness, a clothing and custom shoe company that aims to spread hope and happiness and end the stigma around mental health. His company became the first student-athlete-owned company to sponsor other student-athletes. This is his story.
So what inspired me to start Default Happiness is I like to be happy. I like to smile a lot, and I like to bring joy to other people, and it was just an avenue, like a thing that I already had. Like I already liked customizing shoes, I already liked making stuff, so it was kind of like a no-brainer to start it, because then it allowed me to connect with other people and bring joy. I like smiley faces. I'd always draw it, like on my shoes in high school, I'd always draw a smiley face. That's where it all started. Like I just would write it, and then every time I'd look down, I'd be like, okay, it's good. Like I gotta be happy. No matter what the ref called, just be happy and move on to the next play. So I was going through a pretty rough time before I started it, just because I was kind of being selfish. I wasn't getting outside myself and changing other people's lives, and I felt like I was just so focused on my school, my basketball career, and everything. So since I've been doing this, just serving brings pure joy, and just the whole message that I'm trying to push. The more I tell other people about it, the more it reminds me of how I need to be an example of that. So it holds me to a higher standard, but then also just helping other people and connecting with other people has brought me a lot of happiness. So there's 3 parts of Default Happiness and how to create that for yourself. So the first one is gratitude, just expressing gratitude for things that you have and looking around and just taking a deep breath and being like, I'm grateful that I got shoes. I'm grateful that I can walk. I'm grateful I can do all these things. The other one is creating happy moments, so putting yourself in happy situations, because you writing an essay isn't fun. Going to school isn't always fun, but you can do little things throughout your day, whether it's listen to your favorite song, go get a drink with some friends, just make memories that you can look back on, so then you can also be grateful for those memories. So the last one, be the creator of personal happiness. That's just I don't know, you can create happy memories like I was saying before, but also you have to consciously make yourself realize you have to consciously express gratitude. You have to consciously make choices that'll let you be happy. And I love self-help books, and I was reading this self-help book by this guy named Mo Gadot, and he had this principle in there. The book's called Solve for Happiness, and the principle was default happiness, having your setting reset to default, your default being happiness. We go through our day and we have hard times, and then we kind of go down, but then you do little things to reset yourself back to happiness. So rather than your default just being okay or sad or whatever, you want it to be a happy state. I have these wristbands that say I like to smile. I've given them to a lot of people, and they just say it's just a good little reminder to look down, or they'll just talk about how people will compliment their hoodie because it says smile or something. And it's just been cool to see how I've been able to affect other people's lives, and it's brought me a lot of joy as well. Because that's really all it is. It's just trying to make an impact on society. This summer we're going to do a lot of stuff with youth, and that's going to be fun because I just love connecting with kids and stuff. It's been cool because being here, we have a sports psychologist at the school, and all collegiate sports programs are required to have a sports psychologist on campus, and that's not a thing that's made available for high school age students or younger. And it's such an important thing. The more I meet with, his name's Tom Golightly here, the more I meet with him, it just changes my game. And your mind drives your body. It's so important to train your mind just like it is to train your body. So I just want to bring that education to younger people, and I feel like it can help kids so much because there's a lot of pressure growing up. I remember for me, sometimes your parents can put a little bit of stress on you and the coaches and everything, and your mindset can just be crazy as a kid, and you just need to have tools that you can figure out how to be a successful athlete. So it'll just be cool to give this message to people, and hopefully it can help them accomplish their dreams. I want to make it simple. It doesn't have to be a crazy, confusing message. I want someone to just look at it and just automatically have a relation with that. So you see the word happiness, you kind of associates the happy memory. You see the word smile, you're gonna smile. That's what it is. Just be grateful. I mean, it's easy to say that for me, like I have so much to be grateful for. But just really try to think of stuff and consciously each day just express gratitude, because that's where I found happiness. Because I was in a dark spot, and I feel like I'm out of that spot now, which is awesome to say. And it's just been expressing default happiness, just resetting myself every day and just keep on going.
Teagan Graham just finished her 6th season playing collegiate basketball, playing for the BYU Cougars from 2020 to 2022. Throughout the years, Teagan has proven to be a game changer and make an impact on the court. Now, Teagan is doing what she can to make an impact off the court for all of the women who are still on it. Teagan is doing a master's in communication, and for her thesis, decided to research something that has personally affected her. Second Class Citizens is a podcast that looks at gender equality in NCAA Division I sports. As written in the podcast description, this podcast exposes the gap between men's and women's college sports and aims to educate and encourage change in sports culture. Let's hear what she has to say.
So I think the first inspiration was the NCAA tournament, which was last year, so 2021. We saw all these disparities, you know, with the weight room, with the food, with the COVID testing. And I guess I just I posed that question, you know, is this okay? Obviously it's not, but why am I not really surprised? And then I was like, I want to educate myself more on this, and I want to find out, what am I missing? What do I not know, right? Because obviously I felt like it was wrong, and I felt like there were, you know, clear disparities that just shouldn't have been there. But, you know, the overall kind of theme was like, what do I not know about this that will help me maybe find a solution, or is there a solution, right? Because at the start I was like, my main question was like, do women deserve more? And do female student athletes, or should they be asking for more? Should they be getting more? And then obviously I started that research and found out that they definitely do. But yeah, the whole inspiration was really just the question at first, trying to figure out what that looked like. Disparities wise, I think the biggest one that everybody saw that kind of like blew everyone's mind was the weight room, right? Obviously we got, the men's side of the tournament had this, you know, Olympic lift, like these huge Olympic lifting racks and this massive room and every weight and rack you could possibly imagine, right? And then we had like literally a stack of dumbbells, no more than 30 pounds, and some yoga mats, right? And they had made this whole conversation, or made this whole argument about space, and we had tons of space in our practice facility. And you know, as soon as it went viral and people started caring about it, a weight room appeared like that, right? So it wasn't about really space or resources, it was about choice and intent, and there was no intent there to provide any sort of weightlifting resources for women. I think they made a purposeful statement this year, and they said, oh, you guys want to cry about equality and about equity? We'll make you guys, you know, the exact same gear bags, but they were terrible. Way worse than the gear bags that we got last year that people were complaining about in terms of the disparity. But I think that the NCAA did that on purpose, because what I think they're trying to do, and the message they're trying to push is, I guess the narrative that they're trying to push is, oh, okay, well, if women want more, we have to take away from men. And that's just not the case. You don't have to take from men to give women more, right? You're $1 billion corporation. I think the intent was very purposeful with the NCAA making those gear bags the exact same, but making them terrible, right? Because they're saying, here you go, here's equality. And the whole issue really with this conversation is not even about equality, it's actually about equity. So I think the issue with equity is what do you need to be successful, right? And I think the whole disparities in the tournament, and the reason why that was so shocking is it sends a big message about what the NCAA thinks about women's sport. Ultimate goal, honestly, was just exposure. I obviously would love people to listen and take what I, you know, have learned from my research and then apply it. But I think the biggest thing that shocked me and my teammates is how little we know about something that directly affects us, right? Like, this is my 6th year being a student athlete, a female student athlete, and there are so many things I had no idea about that directly affect me. And I think so the most important thing for me was exposing or educating other student athletes, other female student athletes, on what they do deserve. You should be asking for this, right? You should be asking for better travel, better facilities, better X, Y, and Z, right? If they want you to win, they should be creating an environment for you to do so. And it's all about choice, right? It's all about choice at athletic departments, at the NCAA, the media. They're all making a conscious choice, right? No one's tying their hands like, oh, you couldn't possibly cover women's sports. You couldn't possibly get, you know, women's softball the facility they deserve, right? It's all about choice. And the choices that have always been made always have benefited the male side of sports. I would hope that the rest of my life I find some sort of, I don't know if it's a career or some sort of passion in my life that's just advocating for women in general. I am a self-proclaimed feminist, but I think if anyone cares about equality or women in general, they would identify as a feminist. I think there's this whole ideology around feminism that, you know, radical feminism has kind of pushed the core of what feminism is kind of, you know, really, really far outside the box. And to me, feminism is just, I believe in equality between the sexes, right? And that's fundamentally what feminism is. I've had some conversations in terms of jobs with some marketing agencies and such and things such as that, just to maybe look at pointing them in directions about where they could go, especially with the NIL, because that's changed a lot with college sports, and that will continue to change college sports a lot. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is whatever I do next, and I really don't know what that is or what that looks like. I hope that I will find a space or create a space in that to advocate or support women in really athletic, competitive, you know, spaces. So yeah, I mean, I think if that's the one thing people took from my podcast, to be like, oh, I do respect, and you don't even have to watch women's sports to respect women's sports, right? But if they had that knowledge to say, I understand why women deserve to be here and deserve all these things, that would make me super proud.
On January 15th, 2022, a submarine volcano erupted just 65 kilometers off of Tonga's capital. Thousands were affected and millions of dollars of damages took place. It was a catastrophe that affected the entire world, and yet thousands stepped up, including one close to home. Grad transfer running back Houston Heimuli recreated a photo shoot that his father did back in the 80s while he played here at BYU. All proceeds taken from the posters that were sold after the photo shoot took place were given towards Tongan relief efforts. This is Houston's story and how he helped the community around him.
My name is Houston Heimuli. I'm originally from Bountiful, Utah. I spent 5 seasons at Stanford University and transferred here to BYU. I'm a fullback. I'm not sure if I said that before. Lose track of things sometimes. But I've loved it here at BYU. It's just felt like home. So I was kind of scrolling through my feed, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, eruption in Tonga, and I was like, whoa, what happened here? And then all of a sudden my family group chat just exploded. You know, my parents, my family, they're all like, hey, like this happened in Tonga. And as I looked into it more and more, I was just like, dang, like this really happened. Like at first it was unbelievable because, you know, a lot of things happen on islands, a lot of tsunamis and stuff. But this one was a huge one too that just like out of nowhere, it just came quick. And the news was just as fast. As soon as we heard it, we were all like shocked. And you know, my dad is from Tonga originally. You know, he immigrated from there to Hawaii and then there to here in Provo. And so again, it had a big impact on my family, more so that they're so willing to help and give because they're like, hey, like we got family there. We needed to figure out some ways to help out. So actually, Hema, my older brother, he works actually at BYU, and he kind of played with the idea of like recreating my dad's poster. And when I committed here, a lot of people, even on Twitter, were like, hey, like here's a poster of your dad. We'd love for you to recreate it. So my brother was saying, hey, let's do this, but let's try to make this towards something like good. And we're like, let's do it for Tonga. Like let's make the posters and all proceeds go there. And that probably happened, you know, solid month before we officially shot everything. That's what was really cool was, you know, it wasn't just a shoot towards nothing. Like it wasn't just like, oh, look, I'm recreating my dad's poster. You know, making it purposeful kind of made the whole experience better. I felt like I was doing at least something to give back, at least something, like minuscule in comparison to what other people give, but something. And you know, Rockwell was gracious enough to let us shoot there. Another company that helped too was kind of the Diesel Brothers are shot. You know, they allowed us to come to their facility too and see any trucks or stuff we wanted to use. So shout out to those two companies for allowing us to do that. But yeah, it was a really cool experience, fun experience, and then just having the proceeds go to Tonga made it more meaningful. Yeah, I was just surprised at how well it was received, and you know how many people wanted one, and how many people, you know, were like, yeah, I knew your dad back then, or I saw your dad back then. I have his old poster. I'd love to have this one. And then them knowing it's going towards something, made them even more excited to do something about it. After the posters were done, we were me and my brother were shocked at how much of it sold. We raised over like $1,200, just out of proceeds from posters, just straight posters. And I don't know what kind of impact if people donated on their own money or own time. I don't know how much impact that made, but it definitely made, kind of his presence, at least in Provo. And I did have a lady reach out from, I think it was Southern California. And, she was like, hey, like, I saw this online and I wanted to buy it and send my proceeds to Tonga. So thank you for making me aware of it. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know people from California knew. I thought it was a Provo thing. So that was really cool is seeing that impact. Again, not like major, but seeing at least some kind of impact was nice. As an athlete, I think we underestimate our ability to be seen. And sometimes, I think it's kind of like your duty to at least make something better out of it. Don't bring anyone down with your platform, but if you have any causes that you can get behind or anyone that you can support, do it. And again, going forward, being mindful of whatever's going on. Again, like if there's something I can support, if there's some cause that I know of that I can get behind or even spread awareness, I will. And I feel like I think every athlete, no matter how big their following is, can do that. That's like a small thing they give back to people in their community.